I started streaming on YouTube, and now I should be able to restream it on Reality. Awesome. Honestly, I believe it would be easier for you to just play on your phone, but I guess it's alright. Email. Okay, almost done. So I entered my email. Next is going to be my password that I'm not going to say out loud because I'm not a total idiot. I am. Speller, I am. Next. Okay, done. Awesome. Not the freaking protection, Google. You don't need to protect me. Holy shit. What do you mean connection was interrupted? I'm so mad. I'm so mad at Google. I don't need to care about it. I just want to... Okay, awesome. I think I can finally see it. Terminal Dimitri. Okay. I don't know whether it's been opened in my app or in the browser. I think it's in the browser. Where am I? Okay. I think Reality works now. I don't know whether you hear me. Please don't tell me my stream ended. It would be so freaking easier if I could just play on Discord. What the hell? What do you mean checking out our data? I want to freaking stream. What the hell is going on? I'm so freaking mad. I'm so freaking mad. Okay. I hate what happened right now. I'm pretty sure that the stream was interrupted for you. Because, okay. And I didn't get logged in. So now I'm created a stream playing chess, so maybe I'll be able to. Okay, I cannot even select the criteria for search. Channel, no. Anytime today, I guess. Okay, I cannot even I cannot even see myself. I want to sign in, but it doesn't let me sign properly. It's so annoying. Maybe it did log in. It did log in. Awesome. Okay, I managed to open it. I managed to open it. Okay, now it should be fine. Awesome! I fucking see it. I fucking see it. Amazing. So now I need to find a way to play it. Okay, I think would it be Explorer or Solo? I think Solo Chess is a different thing, but basically, how can I hide it? How can I hide the analysis? Game is currently not working. I don't. Okay, explore. Can I hide it somehow? Okay. Uh, ch- local chess. Local chess. Um. Okay. Chess.com. Play against yourself. Okay. Okay. There is solo chess. So it is solo chess. Then let's go solo chess and hope it's what I think it is. Start. Challenge mode. No, it's not a challenge mode. I want a freaking solo chess. What the hell? Okay, take it, Amario. Um, chess database rules, tools, shop, vision, chess kid, openings. Okay, I'll try to first health up. Okay, website or online. Online would work well. The learn practice custom position feature. Um, there is the okay. Uh, I'm totally quiet and calm. I guess I'll do the explorer. Welcome back, Aria. Currently I'm trying to find a way to hide this annoying panel. Maybe there is. Save analysis, practice computer, add to collection, add game, new analysis, set up position. Okay, let me do. Are you sure? Okay. Clear board. No, that's not what I want. I just want to play against. I just want to hide all the stuff because it's. These moves are basically cheating. Maybe I can. Maybe I can do something like this. And I need to hide the Valpar. Okay. I will. What if we keep the Valpar? I just don't know how to hide this stuff. Strengths, fast, chess engine. Maybe interface. Suggest arrows. Okay. Maybe like this and highlight moves. No, and engine. Class engine. Engine off. Okay. And strength. Maybe we can do something else. Hotkeys is not. Browse, place animations, move classification style. Play. I cannot even disable it. Okay. Okay, maybe this one will work. No? Yes, no. No, sadly not. Add game to this. Maybe I need you to download it. Or play. Hi Saki, we are trying to play chess here, but I'm not sure it will be possible because chess.com does not let me to play. Actually, I have an idea. I have an idea. It's kind of crazy and dumb. Maybe I can play actually against someone, but dude, why can't you just play? Um, um, why can't you just play on your mobile? Like it would be so much easier, dude. It would be so much easier. Cause trying to set, maybe I can, maybe I can ask to play bots, and okay, I'll try to play a bot, and maybe, okay, play. Maybe I'll be able to do something about it. place notation, move classification, place animations, move method, drag and click. I cannot play for bot. Yes, please download it. It would be so much easier. Dude, please do. It, like, I want to, I just don't want to, I just want to find a way to play chess with like, there's Explorer that allows me to see moves, but that's not what I want. I don't want to see all these options. And there is annoying eval bar. Maybe I can play something like this. Fuck. I cannot even hide it properly. Okay. Maybe something like this. And maybe I'll keep the eval bar. So, d4. Okay. So, my suggestion for now is to just play on this, hide something, and basically show only this. There will be eval bar. So, but you will not be able to see it. So, d4. I start white. d4, very common move. You play black. It's so small. I know. It's like, maybe I can do something about it. Maybe I can do something about it. Let me do display capture. Instead of display capture, I will do not VS Code, but properties, window chrome.exe, okay, and okay, and I will adjust properties. I will show only filters, effect filters. What can I do here? Basically, I want to show only part of the screen. Filters, transform maybe, order, blend method, show transition, scale filtering. Maybe it's in filters, actually. Color. I know what I can do. I can hide it behind these things. I cannot. Apparently, I cannot. VS Code and okay, I think I can do something about it, but it will be a bit messy. Okay. It's kind of messy, but it's the best I could come up with for now. Okay, I think it starts taking shape. Okay. Like this. So I started d4. Oh, what's your answer? Oh, tell me the move. Tell me the move. Okay. D5. D5. Okay. That's a mirror opening. You take the center. It is totally understandable. I think what I will do, I will go for knight knight f3. So I want knight f3. there is a bit of a delay on YouTube. Yes, it has a delay, sadly. But I announce my moves in live, so you should be able to hear it. So knight f3. By playing knight f3, I fight for the center, ensuring that it would be hard for him to occupy the center, and preparing the opening that I'm going to play. Knight c6, knight c6, knight c6. Okay. So you are going to. So you are also fighting for the center, and that's a viable move. My next move will be pawn a3. That's a very calm move, but it has the benefit of protecting the protecting b4 from knight entering that. And if knight captures, he is going to be in trouble. Yasaki. Pawn a3. Pawn a3. Yasaki. What is it? Oh, why are you happy, Saki? Let me see. Itsukizuma. Oh, congratulations, Saki. I'm happy for you too. I'm glad that he forgave you. Knight f6. Knight f6. Okay, so you also fight for the center with this move. Because I cannot just push pawn e6 like this. However, I do have options here, and I would say I'll go pawn b2. That's also a quite calm move because it allows me to fan kettle the bishop on b2. Fan kettling the bishop. Yes, pawn b2. Fan kettling the bishop is placing the bishop on the main diagonal, usually behind a pawn. This kind of bishop is often quite strong, both in the defense and the offense, because it has very good scope of the board. Hey, Straubs, are you still awake? And hello, Chimorval. The knight on f6 was a good move, but it is quite committing because it's created a problem that it's hard to push the pawn on f7 to f6 or f5. It stifles the development of the center, but gives higher control of the on the enemy side of the board, thanks to the knight placed there. Yes, you're welcome. For now, we are in the beginning stage of the game. In the opening, opening is usually lots of theory because there are like quite common like there are many common openings that can create opportunities for strategic and tactic plays. Pawn e6. Pawn e6. So that's a very calm move as well. It also fights for the center, but the benefit of this move is that it opens the black squared bishop, and now the pawn on a3 is under attack by the bishop, but it is protected by the bishop on c1. So I'll continue with my plan of fan catering the bishop and placing the bishop on c2. Welcome back. Also, I just disowned your grandfather. My grandfather? Granddaughter. Okay, whom did you disown and why? Bishop on c2, yes. Black squared bishop on c2. Oh, b2, I'm sorry. b2. My bad. Bishop on b2, my bad. The move is played on the desk, so you can see it. Damn, I'm sad to hear that, Saki. Yes, Saki? Oh, did you ask me if I like your new username? No. Knight on e4. Okay, you decided to capture the knight. Capture the pawn on e4. Oh wait, no, you place the knight here. Okay. Fine, I guess. You cannot really do much here. So I will just sort of ignore the threat and play pawn to e3. Right now, this knight does not particularly bother me because I can kick him out quite easily. It has sort of an outpost thanks to this pawn on d5, but it doesn't create any problems for me. And my plan is to complete the development and get to the point where I would enter the classical Kohl-Zukertort formation. Queen to h4. Okay, that's interesting. Queen to h4. Quite aggressive. Let me see. So now the pawn on f2 is attacked twice, by the knight and by the queen. However, there is a problem. You can see my knight on f3 is attacking the queen. And it's called a blunder. So I capture the queen on h4. My knight is on the ring, which is bad. But I can fumble too. In chess, it is often called Bottish Gambit, when you sacrifice your queen. Sadly, in this case, it has no compensation. It's called a blunder, yes, but Bottish Gambit is a fancy name for giving away your queen. But in this case, you have no compensation. Oftentimes, in chess, you gambit material. No, Queen's Gambit is a different thing. Queen's Gambit is an opening. One sec, I gotta rebandage my Uncle Papa. Okay, Saki. Yes. Queen's Gambit is the gambiting the pawn on d4 in order to get the advantage. Bishop e7. Bishop e7. Wait, e7. Okay, okay, I can see. So bishop on e7. It's a very calm move. It attacks my knight. You can see that this bishop attacks my knight on h4. However, I can just retreat with my knight. And not only that, this is actually good for me, because it centralizes the knight, giving me a great square for it. That's where I started, and that's where I want to place it. And I'm doing great, it's okay. Yes, absolutely. Feel free to follow me, brother. So I went knight f3, and now my knight is safe, and I feel great. Now I have what's called a material advantage. Material advantage is when you have more points of material than your opponent. And when when the person knight a5, okay, a5, a5, a5. Okay, so you placed your knight on the rim. Usually placing the knight on the rim is bad, because what happens is that you have only half the squares that you can go to. So you can see that knight can attack here, like on b7, on c6, on c3, and b2. No, on c4, on and b3. However, if he captures this pawn, it will not be good for him because this pawn is protected. The pawn on b3 is protected by the pawn on c2. And high knight. So things are going well for me, and now I feel like just completing the development with the move, I would say, bishop to bishop to d3. Bishop to d3 seems like a very solid move. Can I join your life, baby? Dude, I'm sorry. I would love to invite you, but if I let people in my stream, people will not be able to hear me. D3, yes, bishop to d3. Bishop went from f1 to d3. White squared bishop. So it's a very simple call move that gives me a nice place for my bishop that eventually can give me long-term advantages. It's a bit passive right now because it's blocked by the knight on e4. However, that said, I still have I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush. I have material advantage. I just need to ensure that I don't fumble, that I play solidly, and that I trade off the pieces and win. Knight d6. Knight d knight d6. Okay, knight d6. So you went backwards with your knight. That's a very quiet and calm move. However, it prepares. The square on c4 is currently attacked. Well, under fire. One move to check. No, it's not one move to check. Well, I can check him, but why would I check him? The check wouldn't give me much. I'm not interested. I'm not particularly interested in a check, per se. However, I can do something nicer, which is I can go to I can go to what would be the best option for me? So I'm thinking about castling because it would pull the rook into the game. However, it is probably not that interesting for me. I don't want to push. I'm considering pushing b3 pawn to kick out the knight. However, it will also make the square on b3 on c4 weak because it is currently protected by the b3 pawn. Therefore, for now, I'll just play something like knight. I'll play knight f5, knight e5, knight e5. It is a reasonably calm move. Like I can provoke weaknesses in his position. I can play. I can support this knight with the pawn, providing me sight into the squares on his side of the board. So this knight on e5 also protects the bishop, which is good, I would say. It also prevents pushing the e6 pawn. That would unlock his bishop. His bishop on c8 right now is quite dumb. It has literally no scope. It provides us vision into this square, that's it, and stopped by this pawn. And there is this pawn that is protecting the c6 square. So whatever he does right now, he is not in a good position. I would say his development is stifled. Pawn to f6, f6, f6. Okay, so he decided to kick out my knight. It's a reasonable move. And I probably can just let it happen. So I feel that it's... I have an interesting idea right now. No, I don't want to invent anything super crazy. So I'll do... So I'm thinking about maybe I should just force trade the pieces. If I place the knight here, he will... no, I don't want to. I'll just go back. Or there is another option. What if I go to... actually, I'm thinking about queen h5. This would be a check. And he would have no good way to protect against a check. He would have to either move the pawn, and then I would be able to get the rook, or he would be able to... So I'm going to go queen h5. Yes, I'm going to go queen h5. Stops chess doesn't actually take this long. Yes. Well, it depends. There are different time controls. I excel in long time controls, like 30 minutes. Quite commonly people play 1-minute bullet games, which are much faster. However, here, since I need to explain what my plan is, I decided to just take my time, explain stuff. Yeah, he's trying to reach me, so it's slower. Yes. So he cannot really pawn to g6. Okay. So you threaten my queen. However, I capture it with my knight. I go knight captures g6. And now you can see the tactics. If he captures the knight with the pawn on h7, pawn captures g6, then his rook will be exposed to my attack by the queen. and my queen will be able to capture the rook and infiltrate into his position. And if you remember the material points that I discussed before, knight costs only 3 points, and rook costs 5. Um, um, G, okay, so took G8. What? Rook G8? Okay, so you decided to move the rook. So my move is knight captures e7. Your king is under attack. It is check. And I captured the bishop, which is generally more valuable. King takes knight. Yes, it's a move. However, there is a little problem. I go queen captures h7. So now I attack both your knight, both your king, and your rook. He cannot do that anymore. Yes, once the rook or the king is captured, moves, this move is forbidden. In addition, there is a problem that none of the squares where the castle is meant to happen should be under attack. That is, if the rook is on h8 and the knight is on e8, none of f8 and g8 have to be under attack. King f8. Okay. Fine. So, my next move will probably be I'll probably continue to ravage. So I'll probably continue to ravage his position with the queen. So I don't think my yes, my queen cannot be dropped. Therefore, I'll just capture on c7. So I'll just continue grabbing pieces, creating all sorts of threats. And I would say he is in a terrible position right now. It's already resignable, but let's fight like gentlemen. Knight e8. Knight e8. Okay, so he threatens my queen right now, which is a move. However, there is a problem that his knight on a5 is left undefended. So I will use this opportunity to capture the knight on a5. My queen still cannot be trapped. I feel relatively safe. My king is very safe. He can try to capture on g2 with a rook to create some sort of counterplay, but I feel like it's too slow. So he can try to go for something like rook g2, but it would be way too slow. I'll have checks that would not let him finish the attack. In addition, I can just poke the rook with my bishop, and it will just be one more piece added into the attack. So it is great. So now I just have to consider all sorts of attacking options that I have. I feel like my bishop on d3. Yeah, resign, bro. But we should play when I get a computer. Absolutely. Absolutely, brother. And that's more or less how the game of chess goes, Strops. Um, well, usually it goes faster because I would not have to explain any moves. Yes. Well, I not at this point, like not at 2 p.m. right now. Like not at this time, but a bit earlier. Yes. The thing is, at 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. I would have a meeting. Hey guys, I'm just get the chest up, okay? Absolutely. Take your time. So I would be able to play with you tomorrow. Just we would need to do that a bit earlier. So that Jobs also can go to bed at normal time, not stay up for so long. It is not a great thing. Jobs, don't be like this. Come on. Come on, Jobs. So should I get it now or whenever you want it? Yes. Let's play tomorrow. If Jobs is interesting, of course. If Jobs is interesting right now. Can I watch again tomorrow? Absolutely. So I can notice that Trio played without an opening idea. I mean, he played reasonable, but he did not play any solid opening, which is usually a bad idea, unless you know what you are doing. So, so he did the right move, he played according to the principles, he occupied the center, shit. He developed his knight, which is great. The thing is, it's hard to look at the opposite. Make sure I win tomorrow. Yes, please do, Rio. I do. I do study openings. The one that I showed in this game is called Kohli Zukertort. Um, um, so, usually Kohli Zukertort is complete when there is the bishop on bishop here, knight. Okay, I'll do some random moves here. Knight here, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Wait, did I do it right? Yes. So that's the classical Kohli Zukertort position of the pieces. Want to play a game that this time I'm white? Absolutely. Show me whatever you got there. Italian game, Rui Lopez, whatever. Hit me with anything. Are you sure? Are you sure, man? Okay. Straubs, next time the game promises to be more dynamic. But you know that I'm kind of slow. Like, I usually play slow time controls because that's where I beat everyone. In short time controls, I I can fall for traps easier. Then chess is about traps and not about playing chess. Fried liver attack. What other things there are? Okay, sure. That's the board. Restart the board. Okay. Restart. Oh, you want to play? You want to play? You want to play chess right now? Okay. Let me flip. Actually, yeah. You play. You play white. So e4, d4. What's a pick? What's a pick? E4 or d4? Do you like playing with your d or do you like playing with your E? Hold on. Okay. E4. Okay. Usually E4 played for very sharp openings. I play. Let me flip the board because I need to do. Yeah, I'll play D6 and I'll flip the board again. So I went for what's called Caro-Kann. It's a very common opening for black. I played D6. I played D6. And Caro-Kann usually is very solid, just like Cole Zuckertort, but black usually plays at a disadvantage. Playing first means that you can play the game that you want. You set the rules. You make the moves that can be quite forcing. Here, he can go for multiple options. He can play bishop c4. Okay, so it's called the Italian game. The Italian game is very solid opening for white with lots of attacking opportunities. So I will continue occupying the center by playing e5. So now he will probably go for some for a Fred Lever attack. So he'll probably try to develop his knight. I expect him to develop his knight on us on e on f3, so that he can move it to on b no on g5, and then you would notice then he would be able to fork the queen and the rook. So that's what I expect him to play. It's one of the most common ideas. Wait, flip the board again. Absolutely. What does fork the queen mean? So knight can attack multiple. You can notice that knight has this pattern of capturing and attacking and moving, and when knight attacks multiple pieces at a time, he is said to fork them because he attacks them all simultaneously, and unless if knight cannot be captured, each of them is under attack. Queen f3. Okay, that's quite. Wait, queen f3. Oh, queen f3. Okay. So this is quite a rare thing to see. Queen developed that early. However, he attacks my pawn on f7 twice by the bishop and by the queen. So so I will probably what I'm going to do is to offer him a queen trade. So I'll go queen f6. Since I'm playing black, I'm playing not for victory. I'm playing for a draw. Even if he captures, even if he sacrifices the bishop here and denies me casting rights, flip the board. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, I will absolutely flip the board. When it's your turn, I'll flip it like this. Hi, Bob. Nice to see your brother. We are playing chess here, and hi, Saki. And um, I'm now a therapist again, Dad. What happens, Aki? Uh, who's whom do you have to help? And thanks for the good job, Bob. Okay, queen takes queen. Okay. So he decided to capture the queen with my queen. I will do a natural development move. I will capture not with a pawn, but with a knight. It immediately creates a threat towards the pawn in the center. And he has options, but for my fancy this time. So I create a threat towards this pawn. In addition, I get a tempo. There is a common saying in chess, to take is a mistake. Because whenever you take, whenever you capture, you use tempo for it. And this usually hits you bad. So now we are playing without queens. It's usually a more calm kind of game that we can expect. However, knight c3. Knight c3. So he decided to protect the pawn with a knight. And it's a valid option. So here I have multiple options. I will probably go for something like so here I feel like I want to abuse the fact that I think I know what I can what I want to do. Can he create any threats with his knight? So he can create a threat on this pawn by placing the knight here, and I can create the reverse threat here. So I play a6. I play a6. So I turn the flip the table. You should say. So I played a preventive move a6 that in addition creates some problems with the for the for the knight. So things are going quite good for me, I would say, in this game. I would say yeah, I have a bit of an advantage, but it's like marginal. It's like sub point of material advantage. It is not a kind of material advantage that is guaranteed me a victory. But for now, I enjoy my position very much. He has a little bit more development, but this is normal because he's white. However, my position is very well protected, very well defended. His pieces are sort of stuck in place because he cannot really do much. So I very much enjoy my position. As for him, he probably wants to keep developing. Maybe hope that I would somehow fumble. Most likely, he would want to like keep developing, like develop the knight and the bishop. Keep his flexibility for him. That you're watching your life. I see. Pawn d3. Pawn d3. Okay. Oh, pawn d3, not d4. Okay. So yes, that's a very natural move that opens the bishop, and like it's just a great call move overall. However, it creates a problem. It creates an immediate problem, and the problem is that this bishop now is sort of stuck. So I will go pawn pawn b5. So now his bishop is under attack. And he has like one square which is a viable option for him, I would say. Like there's a place on b3 which is it seems decent. Bishop on d5 is not an option because it's attacked by the knight. Bishop on e6 is not an option because it's protected by the pawn. He can try to sacrifice the bishop, but it doesn't guarantee much. So the retreat of the bishop is pretty much forced, and he keeps an eye on the development of my pieces. But I would say that it's totally fine by me. I can enjoy it quite a lot. Bishop b3, yes. So it's like it was a forced move, I would say. Now, I really feel like I want to start pushing my pawn here, and probably I want to push the pawn before I develop the knight. So I feel like I need to do something about it. So most likely what he wants to do is to develop his knight or develop his bishop. So that's his plan, most likely. He can pin my knight. Well, not really pin, just make it capturable and double the pawns, and it would be an option. But it is not a big deal, I would say. I can... I wonder what I can do here. Maybe I just want to... so... Yes, I will capture here. So I'm going to push my pawn. It's a bit of a committal move. It's a bit of a committal move because it creates sort of a weakness in my position. However, this weakness is not exactly that big. And I would say that it's that I'm willing to accept it. So I pushed the pawn to e5. I don't see moves here that would be leading to victory. Flip the board. Oh yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, yeah. I'm sorry, yeah. My bad. Hey, stop. Hey, stops. So there. My concern right now is that he has more development of the pieces than I do. However, I feel like I have lots of control on the board, which is really good. Pawn a4. Pawn a4. Okay, so that's an interesting move. And in this case, I have a strong urge just to push forward to avoid the trade. I don't want to open up his rook. Is there a better option? I don't think so. I want to poke his knight and yeah, I feel like I want to poke his knight. I go pawn g4. No, pawn b4. Pawn b4. My bad. Sadly, pieces cover the letters on the board. So I attack the knight, forcing it to move. It can move to multiple places. It can move forward. This one is a bad place because I can just capture the knight. If he moves to d5, I have an immediate capture. And then his king is kind of exposed on the king's side. There would be, I would have a pawn majority on the king's side. And it's playable. It's very much playable. However, his bishop here, it would be locked. And it would be bad. Or he can move backwards. He can move backwards to e2. And that is kind of bad because it stifles the development of the other knight. So this move is, like, none of these moves is particularly good. Well, if he goes here with the knight and goes here with the knight, he can capture with the bishop. And I guess it would be an option. He would attack my rook. However, it would allow me to, it would give me the option to leave the rook and start an attack. 95. 95. So we went for the exchange. I apparently don't want a knight here. I capture the knight on d5 with my knight. He can capture with the pawn. He can capture with a bishop. Yes, he wants to trade the knight because here it was under attack, and he wants to trade an naval. Well, it eliminates the piece that was under attack, and he at least gets the material. Now he can capture with pawn or capture with a bishop. Capturing with a pawn, I would probably say a terrible idea because it locks the bishop. Bishop takes knight. Yes. It attacks my. So it attacks my rook that I, of course, don't want to plunder. So I lift the rook. Rook a7. I wanted to double the rooks anyway, so I most likely will want to perform an attack on the king's side, though he also has options for attack there. And I would say that things are going well for me. His bishop is sorta annoying, but nothing too crazy, I would say. Bishop takes knight. Which knight? No, never mind. Knight f3. Knight f3. Where's... Yeah, this is knight f3. Here. Natural development move. It creates a threat of g5, where my pawn here would be under attack from both bishop and the knight. So I feel like I need to create a move that would be. I feel like I need a sort of a forcing move. I would say I would want to go. I feel like I want to keep attacking. So not attacking. I would like to keep trading the pieces. I don't like his bishop, so I'll just enable one more trade. His bishop made lots of moves, so right now this bishop is kind of like he committed a lot into the development of this bishop. So I'll just trade my somewhat inactive bishop for his bishop on d5, and he doesn't have a good move that would prevent me from doing this. Whatever he does is pretty much is going to result in him losing this white squared bishop, and this white squared bishop is really strong for him because you can notice he controls lots of white squares with it, and it's we are playing quite a sharp game, I would say, in terms of well, it's not a sharp game in terms of like trays of things, but in terms of manipulating the control over bishop c4. Bishop c4? Yeah, that's a move. That's a move. So next, my move is going to be. So I know that he is most likely going to move knight here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move pawn to the to the dark square, or maybe there is something better. Is there something better? No. So I'm thinking between pushing pawn to f6 and h6, and it feels like pushing pawn to h6 seems better because that's the move that is going to prevent his knight from going into the square. It's going to stifle the development of his bishop. So right now his bishop is dark square bishop is kind of weak, and it is not obvious what exactly he is going to do here. Well, he can castle, that's an option. And hi Clea. He can try to develop his peacefully somewhere on e3, and then do the queenside castling in order to make the game more sharper by doing a queenside castling. However, I don't think a queenside castling is necessitated here, even though pawn g4, pawn g4. You're playing with fire, brother. You are playing with the fire. And you know what? You know what? I will go. I feel like this knight here is not being particularly active. So this does not create any immediate threats. I mean, he can trade here, creating some threats, but they are not particularly important. So, also his rook is like my rook is kind of weak, I would say too. Maybe I made some blunders here. So positionally, I'm not doing that great, but I guess it's all right. Can I place here? No, I want to place a knight on d7 because it stifles my rook. It's okay. I touched it. I have this option. Rook d7 anyway. Rook d7 anyway. How do you enjoy it? Really? Yeah, but this game is interesting. I'm enjoying watching them play. It's kind of tough, but I kind of like it. So I went 97. I like the position of white here a bit better. I guess I a bit fumbled by permitting this bishop into the square, forcing me to leave the rook. I mean, he managed to create an attack faster than I managed to do so, but he's white, so that's understandable. But the positional advantage here is not obvious for conversion. Yes, plain white is slightly better. I believe 54% win rate for white. So white is marginally better, but it's not that white is inherently better. But yes, he can force his game. Pawn h4. Did he for pawn h4? He's going for queenside attack. Stop this dude! Stop this dude! Okay, I guess I will go for I'll go for knight b6. It forces him to do something with his bishop. He can place it further back. I thought it always depended on the skill level of the player. Not really. I mean, at the beginning level, it's even more important. At higher level, it is still important, though slightly less. So, on any skill range, they are unequal. But they're equal enough to consider it a fair game. Because, like, if black does things right, bishop b3. Yes, that's a very calm move. And very good one too, I would say. And here, I feel like I want to start trading the pieces on the queen side. So I want to go pawn c4. I don't think I enable any tactics, but I force a trade of pieces, a trade of pawns, and thereby I weaken the pawn on e4. So I went for the counterplay on the queen side. And here, he is pawn takes c4. Pawn takes c4. Okay, so you traded your center pawn for the flank pawn, and that's fair. However, your pawn on e4 is under attack. So I will use this opportunity to capture the pawn on e4. So now this bishop on b3 has pretty bad scope. Pretty bad scope. However, he has moves that can enable it. And we have very even game, I would say. Very even game. His knight is also under attack here. And it's, I would say, a very... maybe I'm a bit ahead right now. Like, I have a slight edge. Yeah, this one is even compared to the last. Yes. But she's Andrea. Hello, Chris Andrea. Welcome, welcome. Let me read your bio. Welcome, welcome. Name Chris. Old names Wendell, Wems, Miss Bunny Blank. Birthday 16th April. Secret pansexual. Yada yada yada. Likes music, art, playing Roblox. Awesome. Let's take Askel boys. You hate Askels. You hate boys. Why do you hate me? Why do you hate me? I am white. And Rio plays. No, I'm black. Rio plays white. It's his turn. It's white move. Rook h3. Rook lift. Haha. So you decided to disable yourself a kingside castling. Quite committing. Um, okay, that's totally an option. I think I feel like so there are multiple options here, and I kind of like them all. So he cannot really make lots of progress here. So what I'll do here is I'm going to go for rook c7. Aggressive. Let's go for the aggression. I said I denied castling because by moving the rook, yes, I denied castling. I denied castling. By moving the rook, he's no longer possible. It's no longer possible for him to castle on the king's side. Therefore, either he has to castle queen side, where I have an active attack, or he has to stay in the center. And centralized king, it is an option sometimes, but it is hard to play centralized king because your rooks are disconnected, and usually you want to connect your rooks. Pawn a5, pawn a5. And you know what? Bring it on. Knight captures c4. Knight captures c4. So now he is in a bit of a trouble. Because right now, his bishop has two legal moves. He can capture and move a4. And move to a4 is sort of an option, because it would be check to the king. However, I can move the king out of the way, and I'll be relatively safe at this point of the game, because he does not have pieces that can reach me. Without queens, kings tend to be safer, so more freedom can be done. Like more can be done with the king. That's why late game, in the end game, kings are usually considered one more piece that is finally enabled, because there are less threats and kings actually want to be centralized. But it's only late game. We are still, I would say, in mid game. We still have considerable amount of pieces on the board, and that's kind of rook a4. Interesting. So you decided to go to develop your rook. So now rook attacks the pawn on b4. However, my pawn on b4 is protected, is skyray protected, x-ray protected, with the bishop on f8. And it enables me the move that I wanted to already do. There is, and I can commit my pawn to d5. And this pawn thread is no longer a problem. In fact, if he captures right now, I'll be happy, because I would get a rook for a pawn. So right now his rook is kind of trapped. It's in a bad position. It's locked. He cannot push it forward because of his pawn. He cannot push it here because of the pawn that I have on before and protected by the bishop. So I am very much happy. Rook takes knight c4. Rook takes. There is no such move. There is no such move. There is no such move. Yeah, bishop. Bishop next takes c4. Okay. And I naturally want to capture. The question is, what do I want to capture with? And usually I would say that definitely pawn. However, it's not that obvious in this case because well, maybe I want to capture with rook, or maybe yeah, I feel like capturing with the rook seems like the best option. Yeah, I will capture with the rook. Rook captures c4, and now my rook is very dangerously close to the enemy position. He can try to fork my bishop and the rook. However, there will be a very serious threat here because I will still have my pawn available. And it will be now that, and I will be able to capture on I'll be able to capture h2, and oh boy, it will be a very risky play for him. Knight takes pawn e5. Oh boy, he is going for it. He is going for it. Okay. So now I'll go for. So we are doing an all-in attack. It is something crazy. So I'm double checking that I am relatively safe, and I think I am. I think I am. Maybe there is. So is there any development of the bishop that can create a problem for me? Let's say bishop takes here, takes. Yeah, I definitely want to. I think I want to attack with the rook, and oh boy, that's dangerous. We are in very dangerous waters. Like, so I captured rook on c2, threatening check, with all sorts of complications. Now the position is getting close to the endgame. But we still have our pieces on the board. I have a 1 point material advantage. So in the endgame, I should be winning. However, the position that we have right now is very, very sharp. The game can go either way because we have lots of attacking material staring at each other, and our kings are not at all safe. I feel like Ryo is going to go piece by piece at this point. It's a bloodbath here. It's a bloodbath here. He doesn't have direct threats to my king, whereas I do. And it is great. However, my attacks and defenses are very, very... they are very limited, I would say. Bishop e3. Bishop e3. And that's an option. However, here I have bishop e3. Is there any attack that he can perform? Is there any square that now is enabled? I don't think so. So there are multiple ways to go about it. I can try to pin his bishop, creating problems, creating complications for him. Well, I cannot pin his bishop. So I guess the only move for me right now is a rook takes b2, which is giving me a bit more material advantage. And it is also quite passive move in the sense that he has lots of pieces developed. And it can be a bit of a problem. However, I have a thing that he does not. And this is called a passed pawn. Passed pawn is a kind of pawn that can move freely and become a queen. It does not have other pawns in front of it. So this one, yes, it's also technically passed pawn, but it is not that dangerous. Rook a1. Okay, so what I can do here is I can force trades here. I can force a trade of rooks and get a beneficial position for my pieces. And I feel like it is a wise thing to do. So if I go to rook b1, he will be forced either to move the king and thus give up the rook. It is not an option, I would say. Or he has to capture the rook, and I capture the rook with my bishop. And then there is a problem, that he has no attacking opportunities. And you know what? Rook b1. Check. It's a very forcing move. It's a very forcing move. Rook takes rook, naturally. Bishop takes rook. Bishop takes b1. In this game, in chess, there's also a thing called bishop pair advantage. As I said, bishops usually cost, bishops are valued a bit more than the knight. And one reason is that bishop just plainly controls more squares. Second, in open positions. And secondly, when there is a bishop pair, both bishops are safe. Rook f3. Ooh, that's an aggressive move. Okay. So he creates a threat here, which is legit, I would say. However, I have a protection. I have pawn f6. And what this move does, it forces the knight to make a move. It forces, um, it can create a weakness in this, usually, in g6 square. However, in this case, it is not the case, because, and he could blunder here, but I'm saying this, so he'll likely not blunder it. Usually, you could notice he could go knight g6, which would create a weakness because he would fork my bishop and the rook, and I would not be able to retreat both. So he would be able to disown me, like to remove the bishop pair and disable me the casting rights, deny me the casting rights. However, this square is protected by the bishop on b1, so it is not an issue. I would say that right now his attack is not really that effective, because there are issues for him. Ray Diamond has some pawns moving undefended. Well, yes. I have some, well, yes, but now how do I get to them? Exactly. Exactly. It is one of the issues with chess, that sometimes position just forbid movement. And that's one more reason why knight is usually worse than a bishop. This bishop controls all, like, lots of squares here. It controls some squares on the queen side and on the king side of the map. So it's an issue. For me, game plan is quite simple. The game plan is just to keep pushing the pawns. Push, push, push until I get a queen. He has to find an attack here. He has to find an attack here. And his pieces have to find place for themselves. And I'll play aggressive. Yes, aggressive right now is probably the kind of play that you can do. Knight g6. Knight g6. Huh. It is not a move. And here's why. As I said before, knight g6 is a blunder, because my bishop captures it. So, bishop captures g6. So, you can notice that g6 is protected by my bishop on the other side of the map, on the other side of the board. So, I actually discussed it, that it's not a solution because that usually it creates some weaknesses here. But but it is protected by the bishop. I literally said it. I literally said it. Yeah. Moving on. We still, I still can blunder. I still can blunder. I don't. I hope I won't. It'll be shameful. Pawn h5. Pawn h5. Um, I don't think I have to do anything about it. Let's say. Well, I have to do something about it, but it's not too important, I would say. Now the question is, where do I place it? I feel like going all the way back. Or I can place it here. Yes. I feel like, oh, never mind. It will trap the bishop. Therefore, I feel like playing it. Maybe I have to force the rook to move somewhere. And yeah, bishop b1. Bishop b1 is the move I ensure that these squares are protected. None of your pieces can reach it. It's a bit of in the way of pawn on on b on b4. It's on the way of queening, but it's not an issue. See, rook f5. This square is protected. Okay, since you're far behind, I will allow you to take back the move. I'll allow you to take back the move. Right now, yes, he is pretty much cooked. He is pretty much cooked. That was pretty much the whole purpose of the bishop b1. Like his actions are restricted, and I have 5 points of material advantage. I think after you blundered before with knight. Well, not really. When he blundered, he really created huge problems for himself. Like the kind of problems where, yeah, I guess I'm winning. Before it was like it was 50-50. I still could I still had to convert the material advantage, and material advantage in pawns is not that felt until very late game. King d1. Okay. So I have an option, and I think I will use it. Oh, maybe I made a little mistake here, but it is not a bad mistake. Pawn to b3. Pawn to b3. Well, I haven't castled yet, so for me it was the matter of of 2 turns. So yes, you were definitely ahead of ahead in development. However, I had good reasons to keep my bishop intact. Well, yes, but like for that I need to also move my bishop. We traded lots of forcing moves that forced me to play a bit more actively. Bishop d4. B, C, D, d4. Okay, so my next move is bishop b2, a2, a2, bishop a2. Bishop a2 protects the pawn and creates a space for it to move. In addition, it sets up my move with another bishop, which essentially will give me lots of counterplay. King c1. Okay, but here is the problem. Bishop a3, check. Yes, I see that. And here is, he still has some options. He can try to trade bishops, he can try to move the king, but bishop b2. Yes, so he decided to go for the bishop trade. However, it also creates a problem. Because in this case, I can just go bishop b4, avoiding the bishop trade, and locking the king from going to b2. And now his king is in a big trouble because his king has very limited movement. Very limited movement. And my bishop on a2 is also kind of in a problem, but it is not as big, I would say, as it's not as big of an issue as he is in. And here I have many obvious choices. Castling, which would be the safest. I can grab more pawns, like the one on a5. And there is also an isolated passer, bishop c3. So there is an option. I can trade bishops. The question is, do I want to? And should I trade the bishops? Most there is a chance that I might need to trade the bishops. Sadly. Is there any other way? I think I'm forced to trade the bishops. So I go for the bishop trade. Bishop captures c3. Rook takes bishop, naturally. Oh, that's a very natural move. And I castle. Here, um, king b2. There is a bit of a problem that he cannot really capture those, because he cannot capture with a king because like a pawn and bishop in this case protect each other, and he cannot capture them without the loss of material. Therefore, what I'm going to do is, so I have two options. I can start pushing my pawn on the d file to create another thread, or I can start playing with the rook, which seems like a very decent option to me. Choosing between the two options. I would probably go for... I think I can even combine it. I um, I think I'll go rook b7, or should I? No, I will not. Instead, I will push the pawn. I'll keep things simple. I'll keep things simple. Pawn d4. Yes, it will force an unfavorable trade for him. He cannot trade here without losing material. And with rook and the pawn advantage, I'm going to secure the victory. Rook d3. So he's going to stop the pawn with my rook. Okay. So I have multiple options here. And I feel like I will just keep things simple. Protect the pawn with a rook. And he has to invent something. Pawn f3. Quite a calm move. And you know what? I feel like I want to start I feel like I want to go for there are multiple options here that I can do. And I think I'll just go they're like pretty much equal. There will be just pretty much transpositions of different moves. So I'll go king f7. I think it's time to centralize the king. And while your rook is locked and your king is locked, I'll just grab the pieces with my king. This is my plan. It is fairly simple. Now I just have to ensure I don't allow skewers or background checks. King a1. I feel like I would like to create more threats, so rook d5. Rook d5 serves multiple purposes. I keep the defense on d4 while allowing me an attack on a5 with luck on the king, and technically I can trade pawn on h file, though I feel like it will just compromise my defense. So Rio, show us what you got. King b2. Okay. So you just going to do what? Okay, that's an option. King e6. That's a very committal move, but you have limited options of stopping it. If you move with the rook, you are forcing the trade of rooks. I'll just use my king. Unlike your king, my king is not locked. And I just can do whatever I want. Bye, Clem. Thanks for staying on the stream. King one, King a1. Okay. So we are going from side to side. Okay, now I can feel very ballsy and go King e5. I can do that. So what is going to happen? Let's go. Yeah, he cannot attack it. He cannot stop it. King a5. Moving on, marching on with the king. When this king moves, Funk plays. Rook d1. Okay. So I have multiple. I consider two options. Capturing on a1, Or I can also move king to f4. If I move the king to a4, like in either case, I'll give the e file to him, which is going to be a bit of an issue, but probably not that serious. So let's see. Let's see what is going to happen if he attacks. If he attacks, nothing is really threatening me. It'll be just transposition, but I'll have more options. So, do I want the rook on a5? I feel like it can be risky. Like it can be risky. So, in any case, it'll be just negotiation. Rook captures a5. I capture. Go for it. You can poke my king with the pawn, though I'll just have an option to move forward, and then I'll have an option just to keep pushing my pawn. I currently have 6 points of material advantage, which is winning. Rook e1, naturally. So you gave me check. Fair enough, and I just move forward. King f4. Yes, it was a check. King f4. I threatened this pawn chain. And your rook cannot really do anything to me. Rook e7. He goes for the pawns. He goes for g7. And you know what? Bring it on. King captures f3. I expect rook captures g7. Rook takes g7. Rook g5. If he captures the rook with the rook, I have pawns that can recapture. And pawn on the back, and this rook on the back rank is not doing particularly much. While I have lots of passers and lots of threats. My pawn on d4 is incredibly dangerous. I can just clean up the g and h pawns of my opponent and have more pawns. Rook e7. No. Okay. Rook f7. So that you can capture with a check. However, here's a problem. Actually, no, there is no problem. King captures g4. Rook takes f6. Okay. Okay, and king captures h5. And I have a mate in threat. Rook takes a6. Okay. And let me see how to do it with the cleanest. So I can push pawn, push pawn, push pawn. Let's say he moves there. Okay, I'll go for rook g1. Check. King b2. Okay, now there is an opportunity for tactics, I guess. I guess I'll keep it simple. Okay, let's say... can he threaten something here? I'm thinking about moving my rook there. But I might want to do something quite forcing, not as clean, but I'll lose the material. Okay, I'll do what I'll do is I'm going to. It could be a mate actually. Rook. Rook b2. Rook b2. Check. Rook b1. I'm sorry. Rook b1. Check. King a3. Okay. What is going to be my move? Um. King g5. Rook a5. Check. King f4. Yeah, I can imagine, bro. Yeah, kinda. Yes, Rio. Rook h5. So you threaten to capture one more piece, and you know what? I'm unbothered. Pawn d3. I'm willing to sacrifice this pawn because because I will have a pawn that will become a queen. As I said, it is a sacrifice I'm willing to take. Rook h2. King a3. The march of the king goes on. And now that pawn is protected by the king. It's it's the it's the royal escort, if you will. Yes, the royal escort. A rook h3. Check. King d4. This moves out of the check and keeps the protection of the pawn. Preparing c3, allowing me to push the pawn further. And I have a beautiful plan that can be unveiled. Yeah, I have a beautiful plan. I have a beautiful plan on the king's side, on the queen's side. On well, there are kings here right now, but usually it's queen's side or the left, because my king soon will be able to give the protection to one pawn. Okay, thanks for the game review. Let's just continue quick. Rook h6. Okay, and pawn d2. Rook d6. bc d6. King c3. Rook c6. Okay, it's a check. And let me do the next thing, which is king d4. And the purpose of this move is less obvious, but I'll still do this. Well, it could be played as well. Maybe it's a bit of a weaker move, but rook d6. I mean, yeah, you kind of have the options other than checking. However, there is okay, e2. Yeah, it was a bit of a weaker move. I had a better option. However, I can get to the position that I want fairly quickly. So I've not blundered anything, I made the game slower. Oh, e6, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Okay, king d3. No, it's not a draw. It has to be repeated 3 times. And it's not exact, but first of all, the position has to be repeated 3 times. Rook d6. rook d6, and I go king c2. Now I can use my pawn as a cover, pull my rook, and rook c6, yes. I put my king on d1 square, which protects me further from the checks. My rook is free, so things are going great. So now the only thing that I need to do is to trade off the rooks. And you don't have a good threat for me. I can rook c6. It's at c6. I can do like manual castling here, and it will free up the rooks, whatever you do. So here I would say I see a path to victory. So I can swap places of king and rooks through this move, like pushing king to d2 if he leaves the c file. Rook g6. Rook g6. Rook c1. Yeah, we understood. You feel sorry about the haircut. Hey, Strauss, are you still awake? Or did you fall asleep? As they should. As they should. Yes, you need to get some rest. Strauss. Rook d6. Okay. King d3. No, king c3. I'm sorry. King c3. And yeah, you need to get some rest as soon as possible. Rook, no, king c2. King c2, I think. Yes, king c2. So let me see. Repeat the move. Yes, I went from d1 to c2. From d1 to c2. Rook c6. Check. Um, King b1. Rooks are staring at each other. No, it is not a draw. It is not a draw. My king is safe. I can push the pawn. I just had to do the manual castling. In addition, the pawn on b3 is, if I push it, both the pawn and this thing is going to have protection. So it's like I can do it multiple ways. I guess, but you would like here, if you want king to b2, I will just push the rook upwards, and then you would be forced into problems. So, not really. I would have an option here that would push you into a very uncomfortable position. Okay, there's nine. I'm too lazy to think, and you did win. Okay. So that's how chess is played. It can be a bit difficult and not obvious. However, I enjoy it. Yes, Rio conducted a really good attack on me early game. Let's play another time. Absolutely, Rio. It was a pleasure to play with you. And don't move your queen that early in the game, unless you really know what you did. Yes. Okay. Thanks for the game, Rio. I also need to take a break. I gotta take a shower. It's pretty hot here. And Strobs need to sleep. Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Bye bye. Thanks for joining.